Welcome to This Explainer. We're jumping right in today to unpack a truly fascinating concept: how to transform our deepest past regrets into our absolute greatest future potential. Have you ever looked back at your life and thought, man, if only I'd studied harder, or if only I'd just followed the traditional path? Well, if you have, you are definitely not alone in that. But today, we're going to flip that entire narrative completely upside down. So let's dive into this. There's this really profound thought from the source material that's going to anchor our entire explainer today. It goes like this: talent is not something you are born with, but the proof of how you have lived. We almost always treat talent like it's some sort of magical lottery ticket, right? Like you either have it or you don't. But what if your talent is actually just a historical record of your life? Yes, even those parts you consider to be mistakes or massive missteps. Section 1. Hidden talent in regret. Rethinking wasted time. So let me ask you this. What were you actually doing when you weren't studying? That quiet, lingering pain of wishing you'd done things the so-called right way is incredibly universal. But for just a second, I want you to stop agonizing over that regret. Instead, let's look completely objectively at how you actually spent that time. When you were supposed to be hyper-focused on the standard curriculum, where was your attention naturally drifting? Think about that standard curriculum for a minute. It's essentially society's rigid mold. Society constantly evaluates us based on how well we fit into this one highly specific shape. So naturally, whenever we deviate from it, it feels like we're falling way behind. But what about that divergent path? I'm talking about things like watching movies, drawing, exploring nightlife, or literally just daydreaming. The source material argues something really powerful here. Deviating from the mold isn't falling behind at all. It's actually the process of building an entirely different, highly personalized foundation for yourself. Look at these hidden micro-narratives, because this is where it gets absolutely fascinating. Let's say you skip studying to watch movies. Well, society immediately labeled that as wasting time. But the adult superpower you were actually incubating, a hypersensitivity to narrative structure and understanding exactly how to move people's emotions. Or what about drawing in class, slapped with the label not paying attention? But in reality, you were mastering visual expression over standard verbal communication. Even exploring nightlife, often totally dismissed as just delinquency, was actually you interacting with a vast array of personalities, honing an unmatched intuition and this incredible ability to read a room. These little rebellious actions, they were your personal incubators for highly unique skills. Which brings us to Section 2. Deviation is not a defect. Reclaiming your unique perspective. When you just don't fit society's standard, maybe you really struggle with strict corporate rules or forced group dynamics, it is so incredibly easy to feel this lingering anxiety that you're just fundamentally flawed. But consider this definition instead. Deviation is simply a difference in positioning on a completely separate track. It is not a fundamental flaw or defect. If you constantly try to force a square peg into a round hole, if you force yourself into society's standard mold, the internal friction will absolutely exhaust you. You aren't delayed. You aren't broken. You are literally just running on an entirely different rail. And that rail definitely exists. You just might not be able to see it clearly quite yet. So the really crucial point is this: being told no by society simply means you are deviating from the average. Whenever your parents, your teachers, or society as a whole told you no, or begged you to just be normal, they were really just warning you that you were straying from the statistical mean. But here's the secret. Feeling friction with standard values is the exact starting point for true innovation. Think about it. Most people who bring revolutionary, game-changing ideas to the world start from a place well outside that normal path. Let's look at Section 3. Talent is something remembered. Digging into the past. I want you to pause and really truly consider this question. What were you completely obsessed with as a child? When we think of talent, we usually picture having to go out into the world on some grand, sweeping quest to find a hidden treasure. But the source material suggests that your talent is already inside you. You don't need to go searching for it. You literally just need to remember it. What did you do endlessly for hours on end without ever needing praise or money or any kind of reward? Believe it or not, your core passion is very often hiding right inside your childhood bad habits. If you were constantly scolded for doing something but you just kept doing it anyway, that wasn't just you being a stubborn kid. That was the raw, unfiltered core of your passion. That so-called bad habit was an expression of your natural assets, just sitting there, waiting for the right context to be unlocked. and actually utilized. Section 4. The subdivision of talent, breaking down broad skills. A massive reason so many people feel they have no talent is because they view it as this one giant abstract block, like, oh, I'm just not an artist. But let's deconstruct a really broad interest, like drawing. It's actually a combination of several micro skills: an innate color sense, a really good eye for structural composition, a deep obsession with minor details, and the ability to manifest emotion physically. When you slice it up like this, a broad, seemingly unmarketable hobby suddenly turns into a toolkit of highly valuable, incredibly transferable abilities. And this builds into a highly practical formula that we can actually use. Step 1. Inventory those hidden microskills we just talked about. Really take them apart. Step 2. Identify totally unexpected new context for them. For instance, that deep obsession with minor details from drawing? Hey, maybe that makes you an incredible editor in writing or an amazing space planner in interior design. And step 3, apply them to expand your real-world choices. Once you know exactly what your specific microskills are, you can start matching them to roles you absolutely never would have considered before. Moving on to Section 5, likes versus actual strengths, finding where you feel no pain. Okay, so why does blindly trying to turn a passion into a job almost always lead to total burnout and a sense of failure? Well, it comes down to the difference between what you like and your actual strengths. What you like is a broad emotional interest. Say you love music. Do you actually love performing it, analyzing the lyrics, or just being immersed in the sound? If you misapply that broad interest, you are going to end up completely exhausted. Your strengths, on the other hand, are specific actions that cause you absolutely no pain. It's those tasks where you just completely lose track of time. Discovering the exact point where what you like intersects with an action that feels totally frictionless, that is your true strength. And that is exactly how you provide real, lasting value to the world. Now, the best part is you don't need expensive formal training to develop this. You can refine your unique sensibility through some really simple daily habits. First, try giving concrete words to your everyday feelings. Just name them. Second, actively pause your day just for a moment to appreciate something bizarre or beautiful. And third, quietly observe the emotional shifts in the people around you. This kind of daily mindful observation hones your unique sensitivities. It builds an emotional resonance that, quite honestly, no college degree or formal certification is ever going to teach you. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to remember this. Regret is proof that you haven't given up yet. I think this is absolutely the most powerful conclusion drawn from our source material. The only reason you feel the sting of regret, the only reason you sit there and wish you had done things differently, is because deep down, you still firmly believe that you are capable of doing more. Regret isn't some heavy tether holding you to the past. It's actually a quiet, burning hope for your future. Everything you did, all the daydreaming, the rebelling, the wandering off the path, none of it was a waste. Your so-called wasted time literally built your unique weapons. You have forged a creative perspective that absolutely no one else has. So the only question left to ask is, how will you use them today? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go take those unique weapons, step off that standard mold, and go build something incredible.